I know, but last time you had drinks.
You want drinks?
No,
Drinks?
we don't need drinks. I have my water.
Needed a little sip.
Little poppy churro.
All right, take 6.
Take 236 at this rate. All right, no, I'm kidding. All right, does this take 6?
Okay, so we were talking about how we met in 2013 at Pussy and Pooch.
2014.
We met in 2014 at Pussy and Pooch. I was driving and saw this brand new pet lifestyle center that had just opened up in Beverly Hills, and I called up and I said, oh my God, I have 2 little dogs. I'd love to bring them in to get groomed, and I have like the best person that you have there.
I get this call, I'm in the back, and I had just started this job, I don't know, maybe like a few months prior to Jen coming in. Pretty much I was at a place where I was like, I'm done. I'm not taking on any new clients. I'm not having it. And I was in my typical like Pisces mood for that day. And I get a call in the back, like, can you come up front? I want you to meet this client. And I was like, come on, like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to deal with this. So they ended up calling me to be like, can you please go up front? Like, she's our biggest retail client, clearly, buys everything. So I'm like, all right, fine, let me go out. So go out front. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you, whatever. Did the consult. And then I noticed, like, her kid, I'm gonna say her kid because I didn't know who he was then. Her kid has a Yankee hat on. And I'm like, you from New York? Or you just like one of those people in LA that like the Yankees? Because that's a thing in LA. She's like, no, I'm from New York. I'm from Westchester County. And I was like, what? I'm from Westchester County. Like, we're both Italian. We both grew up in the same neighborhood.
The same county.
Grew up in a town. We hugged. Whatever. I groomed the dogs.
I saw her. I was like, oh my God, she's like so pretty. Like, I wonder, she kind of looks like she could be a lesbian, but like, I don't know. She had like one whole side shaved, but then like this really gorgeous, like long curly hair. And she was in like her work outfit, which consisted of like tight, like skinny jeans and a black t-shirt and these like Guess shoes that I like used to just adore on her. We've moved past those now.
Listen, I'm not dropping hundreds of dollars to get coated in dog hair.
Obviously, they were so cute. I actually really loved
cute.
them. But I remember thinking to myself, like, is she a lesbian or is she not a lesbian? And she had a tongue ring, and I was like, anyone in like their 20s or older with a tongue ring has to be a lesbian. But at the time we were both in different places in our lives. I was in another relationship. I had just had a baby. Soon after that, pregnant again with my second son. So it was just different times. So I was strictly a client, and we talked about the dogs, and most of our communication was around the dogs coming in and, all of that.
Well, wait a minute. So back to my POV. It was nice. Like, everybody got along, family and everything. Like, we might as well have been passing cannolis outside. Like, it was good. Like the Italian, New York was great. So I hug her goodbye. So she leaves. I worked with like a lot of people in the store, and there was an upstairs. And all of a sudden, like, all the guys come running down like, yo, you know who that is? You know who that is? And I'm like, Jennifer Stano, like, all right. So they start Googling her, and they're like, she's a Greek Coca-Cola model. So they start pulling up all these photos of her on the computer screen, and she's like in a bikini and everything, like total PYT. Like, she's hot. But like, I was talking to somebody at the time who worked there, so I was like, oh, like, I can't be like too over the top. But I wasn't thinking that of her. Like, I figured she's got to be straight. She was super cool, and we just like vibed because she was from New York. Like, never had a second thought.
By the way, I wasn't a Greek Coca-Cola model. My ex was Greek, and they had involvement with Coca-Cola. So,
and somehow the stories all got merged. Fast forward a bit. I was going away to Vegas for a weekend.
I came in to pick up either dog food or pick up the dogs from getting groomed, and you were telling me that you were going to be out at the end of this month, so we should schedule it a different time. Yes. And she was all tan and like really skinny and like fit, and I'm like, oh, where are you going? And she's like, oh, I'm going to Vegas for this like concert party or whatever. Oh, this was on text first. Wait, because then I was like, oh my God, I wish I could come. And you were like, oh, you totally should.
Yeah, I did. Ooh,
I was like, oh, I own a swimwear line. Like, I'd love to give you some bikinis that you could wear. Like, what colors don't you like?
So what colors do you like? You asked what color I liked, and I said anything.
But pink and sparkles. So I literally grabbed everything except pink and sparkles and put it in a bag, and then like had a reason to go to the store, and I gave it to her.
So she hands me like bags and bags of bikinis, but like, it wasn't out of the ordinary. I wasn't thinking anything. And then I go home and I'm like, because this came out later, but you didn't know. I try on the bikini and I take pictures of myself or whatever, and I was gonna send them to her. So the next day I'm like showing the guys at work and I was like, yo, should I like text this to her? Like just to like say like thank you? And they're like, no, you can't do that. Like that's so inappropriate, da 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 da. And I was like, all right, like I won't send it.
Anytime I was totally feeling some type of way that like I didn't get a shot of her like in the bikini. And later on she finally showed me the photos after we started like talking, and she was like, oh yeah, I took these for you, but everyone told me not to send them. And she had the scrunch butt bikini that goes in your butt in the front. I'm like, how is it even comfortable? It's giving you like a camel toe and a half, like a moose knuckle.
How is that little thing supposed to fit my butt?
It goes in the butt. That's what the scrunch butt's for. So it creates like a little heart
so
of your
the
butt.
bigger, fast forward, I was booking up again. And I texted you to see if you wanted to bring the dogs in because I know you need a reminder.
So every year for the holidays, I used to travel to Switzerland, have a chalet there.
Please leave it. Please don't edit it out. Just please leave it.
I still own
because
that chalet.
It's just you. Just leave it. Leave it.
I'm gonna leave it. I still own it. So anyway, we used to go every year for the holidays, spend New Year's.
No, it's not we.
I used to travel there
with my ex.
With my ex.
It's not we. Where we?
I was talking in past tense, so there was a we. Myself and my ex used to travel to Switzerland every year for the holidays, and we'd spend New Year's. So there was a big chunk of time that I wasn't here with the dogs because the dogs would travel with us. So when I got back home, she always knew that it was going to be time to get the dogs in because I only went to her and I never had, saw anyone else. So I get a text from her saying, hey, do you want to come in, bring the dogs? It's been a while that I haven't seen you, blah, blah, blah. So this is now in January 2016. I had just brought the dog in.
Okay.
Yep.
While the dogs are with me, right? This one, to begin with, can't be like normal customer. Has to be like, can you put boots on my dog?
They're like bell bottoms.
Can you turn one of them into a lion? So there's just always a lot going on. But she didn't bring them in like every couple weeks either. Like then she was traveling, so I wouldn't see them in a while, and they'd come in all spastic. And she wanted all these fancy haircuts. So I'm like, but like I have this need in me to like make everybody very happy. Like I don't think I've ever had like a customer complaint, and I sure as hell wasn't gonna upset her. So I'm like, let me take some photos off my Instagram.
And screenshots a few different photos and sends it to me. Now, before that happened, years before, I've been working with her now since 2013. I would look up her name. I would look at Pussy and Pooch. I'd try to find a Danielle. I couldn't find a Danielle anywhere. Like I wanted to stalk her. I wanted to know like who she was, what she was about. Was she lesbian? Did she have a girlfriend? Was she married? Did she have kids? Like I knew nothing about her. And so then she finally sends these photos and it has her name at the top. Danny NY.
Danny 22.
22 or whatever. I'm like, no wonder I couldn't
that
find
was Danny,
her.
other than at
Because
work.
people called her Danny and I was searching for a Danielle. So then I'm like, oh my God, this is it. So then I quickly go on my Instagram and I go to look and it's private. And I'm like, so then I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to be that person that like friends you right away. So I'm just going to answer the question. Yes, I like this. That's great. Da, da, da. Go to pick up the dogs.
She's in the car.
Was
she
this
takes
not the
a
Vader?
photo of the dogs. Nope.
Okay, separate.
Takes a photo of the dogs.
In my car. I message her, I sent her a photo and I'm like, hey, I wanted to tag you in the photo I just posted the dogs, but you're private. And she wrote back with the quickness.
Yeah, with the quickness is right. And I went public real fast. Then she follows me and she tags me of the photo. It was like a big deal. Mm-hmm. So then from there, she like liked and commented on like every single photo.
This
all
is the photo.
7 of them.
This is the photo right here.
And then on all 7 of my photos that I think I had posted at the time, you liked and commented on. It was great.
Did.
It was really cute.
So then a few days later, I had to go to pick up some sort of food. And I was talking to the trainer at the time. I see Danielle. She comes on out. She's like, I had to talk to you.
Ask her if her Doberman could be used for a photo shoot for this collar. I don't like asking people for anything. So already I'm like super uncomfortable.
I was secretly like hoping that the trainer would like hurry up with what she was saying and maybe step away so I'd have an opportunity to like have a conversation.
Well, I saw you like look up at me like, and then I was getting even more uncomfortable. Like I'm like, oh, what do I do? I'm just standing here. Like it's awkward. And I'm in like grooming clothes. Like it was like swag down. Like, I don't know.
When she started talking to me, I was like, I'm taller than her to begin with, and I think I had on like platform shoes, and so I'm like talking to her, and I remember she got like kind of nervous and like looked down when she was talking, and like I totally just read the energy. It was that I'm sort of like embarrassed and I'm looking down at my feet and curling and moving them. That's what that was like. It wasn't like your move like, oh hey. It was not a oh hey.
No,
it was
still a
I'm a
move.
little embarrassed.
It was still a move.
Anyway, I read the energy and I was like, okay, something's up.
nervous.
She was like a little like nervous.
She leaves. I was thinking about her over the weekend, like differently. Like for the first time, like that, like something, like I don't know, something in that moment.
And me too.
So then I'm getting my nails done on a Monday.
She gets her nails done.
And I get this black only. And I get this text message and I'm like, and I see like it's a really long message. And I start reading it and it's like,
Here's the original text. Here it
the
is.
original text is right here. And I just pause for a second and I'm like, okay, like this has got to be like for the win right now, you know? You can't just come back with anything. But I wasn't like at a place that I could start like this whole conversation, you know? And like it was a pretty lengthy message and there was like I felt like the energy behind it. So I was like, all right, let me see how I'm going to word this. And I could tell like she was nervous. Like
Well,
that
of
was
course.
a lot she just poured.
Our interaction has only ever been professional and like about the dog. It was never like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like I'm going through a spiritual
Yes.
journey, and part of my journey is recognizing like my thoughts and my signs and my whatever, you know, what's going on.
Oh, I messaged back and just said, you know, there's nothing that you can say that would make me feel uncomfortable. Like I didn't
Melt.
I didn't want, like, I'm not at a place where I could text comfortably right now, but I wanted to get back to you, like, so, you know, you weren't feeling, like, uneasy about sending me the message. I'll message you when I, like, can later on. So I was like, I want to make sure I have clear space. I have time for this. There's nothing going on, uninterrupted. So finish my Monday tasks, and then around maybe 7 o'clock, I text messaged her back, and I believe I left off. Like I started it back up with the Kings of Leon because I wanted to make sure I asked a question so she had that open space
had
to
to, like,
like
answer.
respond. Well, it makes it easy, you know. I was trying to keep it light. She texted me back and we sat on the phone for the next
7
hours.
Like I think I was like, oh, I have to sleep like the boys or whatever, and then I'll text you when I'm back, and like 40 minutes later or whatever it was, like the kids were asleep and that was it. You know, we talked for 7 hours.
And then at around midnight, I get a text from her to call me. And I was like, what? So now, like all of a sudden I start pacing back and forth. Like she thinks I'm all cool, you know? Like I'm like I'm coming across on the phone, no problem. But then call me just took it to another level. So I'm like, fuck, like get it together, you know? Gives me a photo with her in a pink vibrator, all right?
I didn't send a picture of me with a pink vibrator. I sent a picture of my pink vibrator.
All right, but we were already sexting at this point.
Yeah, we were.
So, so we're doing all of that. And then
I tell her to call me.
And then she's like, call me. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
And she
like
took
it
a
was
little
going to be
long.
one of those calls. It wasn't going to be like, a, hey, how are you doing? You know? So I'm like,
God, I was so nervous.
so wait, I have to reenact. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, yo, get it together now. Like you got 1 second to get it together. So then I go, I sit back down, calm myself down, and I'm like, hello? That's just straight up. That's exactly what happened. And then we spoke. You were so cute and excited and all like, hi, and da-da-da. And
I
then,
think we like got off at like 2 o'clock in the morning, which I felt horrible because you'd work.
but
the
then we
next
were
day.
still texting when we got off. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
There was just so much to talk about. Like neither one of us knew anything about each other. Literally nothing.
Like even though like she was a client for so many years, I was just never that, like I'm, like when I'm at work, I'm at work. And then when I'm out of work, I'm out of work. Like there's not too many clients, I think over the years that know a significant amount of information about me. Some do.
And then for me, you know, we literally connected like instantly. And that's why our conversation was 7 hours, our first day talking. Like we connected on a level of like, I don't even know. It was for sure past life. Like we know that we've been together in past lives. If any of you believe in past lives or not, you know, we do. And so we believe that. And
It did. It felt like that. Like I used to always say, you have to put in like 7 years with someone before you know whether or not you're going to marry them. Like, figure everything that could possibly happen is going to happen in 7 years, and then you get the 7-year itch. So if you don't have it after the 7 years, then you get to marry them. But like with her, from like day one, I'm like, oh shit, this is it. And then
day one, meaning like the day that we texted, which was
yes,
February 8th.
February 8th. I feel like from day one, like we knew that there was just something, like. And then that morning, I was so bummed because I wake up and I get a text from her saying good morning, and
I'm up early with the kids.
Something about if I didn't have these text messages or this photo, I wouldn't have thought it was real.
Like fake.
Yeah.
Like, how did this just all happen?
But I felt so bad that she beat me to like the good morning text. Like I totally wanted to do it. So that day, like early on in the day, she came by my job.
I think I went to get my juice first because I was juicing at the time. And I was like, hey, like I'm at the juice place. Do you want me to grab you anything?
And my dumbass was like, no. And then later on, she went, and I'm like, I'm such an idiot. And I was like, you don't need like a reason to come by and see me. Like, bring me a juice then. Like, bring a juice over to me.
So I pull up, and you get in the front seat, and you touched my arm.
And I touched her arm.
I just think I melted. Like, I think I went like this. Like, I couldn't even look, right? I think this was like my move with you. Like, I couldn't look. I didn't want to look. Like, these were like legit butterflies. It was just one of those moments.
It was cute.
Oh, God.
And then I ended up kissing her the second time back. And then it was a wrap. It was just a wrap from there. Like, it was a wrap. Like, we just knew. And people ask me that now. They're like, how'd you know that Jen was the one? And I'm like, because I felt it. Like, I felt it in my gut. Like, that was it. Like, that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this woman. Like, I just knew it. And I don't think I've ever had that feeling before. Like, I was always just such a pain in the ass in relationships, like, all the time. Like, I mean, I was good to people and I love hard, but I don't know. Like, I always had an issue with something. And I felt like with Jen, like, and even now, like, it could be such chaos between the kids and the dogs. And I like to call it the circus running around here at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I just want to be with her. Like, I don't care. And I think for me, like, that's just how I knew. Like, no matter what we were doing, we could be doing nothing, and I just enjoy her presence. And I still feel very much like that today as I did from day one. And
it takes, like, nothing for us to connect, but, we do try to make that time. It is important for us to make time for each other, to reconnect, because you could get lost in the day-to-day and the craziness of life, and having kids is, makes it a lot harder than those that don't have kids to just sit and connect and have that time. Like we have two little humans that rely on us and for everything. It's definitely challenging, and I always give so much credit to her. I think bonus parents, which is what we call her. She's bonus mom.
Nico,
I always give them a lot of credit. It takes special people to give up so much of their own freedoms and sacrifice so much of their life for someone else's kids. And that is exactly what she does. And so I love you and I appreciate you. And I know they do.
I love you too. If you're in a relationship, make time for one another. And if you're not in a relationship, do not give up on love. Because I'm telling you, it just comes out when you least expect it. I was not expecting this at all.
Hope that this answered some of your questions, and I'm so happy that we finally got to share our story and have it on video, and what better place to debut it than on our own personal YouTube channel.
Thank you guys for watching. And
I think we're supposed to say like and subscribe somewhere. So.
That's all you. I don't know how to do that.
I had an ending created, so here it is.